Hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to Unmuted Love. Today we're doing something a little bit wild. This is episode 100. 100. I need to say it again because I still hardly believe it. 100 episodes of talking about love and how trauma impacts it. Attachment issues, nervous systems, repair, you name it, we have talked about it. We talked about the million tiny ways parents keep showing up when they're tired down to their bones. When I started a little over 2 years ago with this podcast, there was no grand media plan at all, no glossy strategy folder, no vision board full of microphones. I started on a bit of a whim, which is very on brand for me. If you know me at all, you know that that's something I do. I had things to say. I had parents I wanted to speak to, and I knew there were people out there who needed to hear, you are not crazy. Your child is not bad, and this is as hard as it feels. That was enough to begin, and here we are. I feel so grateful. I feel a little proud too, which I'm trying to let myself feel without immediately making a joke and moving on. Let's be honest, the joke is always right there waiting in case I need it. Let me tell you about the beginning because it matters. I've been a clinician for 37 years, and I am an attachment specialist, and I founded the Attached Place after my own children came home from the foster care system 27 years ago. I was trained, I was educated, I had experience, I had good intentions, and I had a great deal of love to give. And then my children came home, and I realized I didn't know how to help them thrive at home at all. That's a humbling sentence. It's also the one that changed the trajectory of my entire life, because loving a child from difficult beginnings is not the same as knowing how to parent the impact of those beginnings. Love matters more than anything, but love without the right understanding gets exhausting. And love without a brain-based framework can keep pressing on the very places that hurt the most. That's where so many parents get lost. They love fiercely, but the love doesn't seem to land. It doesn't get in. So they try harder. They explain more. They set consequences, remove privileges, read the books, call the school, and end up crying in the pantry, wondering what happened to the family they thought they were building. If that's you, on this 100th episode, you are not a failure at all, and you're not a bad parent. This is just hard. You're parenting a child whose nervous system may be organized around survival. Likely is organized around survival. That changes everything. How they read your face, hear your voice, receive correction, and sometimes, heartbreakingly, how they receive your kindness. The child you love may push away the very connection they most need because connection has been confusing or costly or painful before. That's why we can't keep using ordinary parenting maps for children whose early maps were drawn in fear, loss, or overwhelm. We need different maps. That's been the heartbeat of my work for decades, and it became the heartbeat of the Love Plus parenting model, which I've spent the last 7 years sharpening and teaching through my online Love Matters parenting program. Parents across the US, Canada, and beyond have found their way into it, and the same truth keeps emerging. Parents of children with fragile nervous systems need more than advice. They need skills. They need language, community, and a completely different way to understand behavior. And here's the idea that sounds simple, but it's actually revolutionary if we take it seriously. Behavior is communication straight from the nervous system. It's a signal. It's not the whole child and not the child's moral identity. That doesn't mean behavior doesn't matter. When your child's screaming, bolting, lying, doing bad things in the world, doing things that would make your ancestors clutch their pearls even, yeah, behavior matters. But the real question is what we think the behavior is telling us. If we read it as defiance or manipulation or criminal, we respond with control and punishment. If we understand it as communication from the body and brain, we can respond with structure, compassion, boundaries, and repair. That's the whole shift, because you can't consequence a child into felt safety. You can't lecture a child into regulation or shame a child into trust. And honestly, neither can the rest of us. When I'm overwhelmed and someone starts explaining my character defects in a sharp tone, I promise you, I don't become my best self. I become a lawyer or a turtle or a dragon. Children are no different. They just have fewer tools and far less prefrontal cortex. And we have to talk about the parents too. We can't ask parents to be endless wells of patience while being kicked in the shins emotionally and sometimes literally every day. This is why I talk so much about blocked care and healing from it. Blocked care is not bad parenting or a moral failure. When a parent gives and the child can't receive, resists, rejects, over and over, the parent's caregiving system can start to shut down. The warmth gets harder to reach. The delight dries up. That's not the parent failing to love. It's a nervous system trying to survive too. When we understand that, we stop shaming parents and start supporting them. Well, that's what Love Plus Parenting is all about. We hold the child's pain and the parent's pain in the same two hands. We make nobody the villain. We tell the truth. Trauma changes relationships, and healing happens through relationships that are supported well enough to keep repairing. So yes, you can love your child and be deeply tired of parenting the trauma. You can understand neurobiology and still lose your mind in the kitchen at 7:42 on a Tuesday because the cereal bowl was the wrong bowl, and now everyone is crying, including the dog. Okay, not the dog, but that doesn't make you a bad parent. It makes you a human nervous system trying to support another one under distress. If there is a single thread under all 100 episodes, it's this. Trust can be repaired, but it can't be forced. It can't be demanded or rushed because the adult is tired of waiting. It grows through repeated experiences of safety, respect, repair, and delight. And that's felt safety, not just safety. And with children from difficult beginnings, that work is often quite slow. Glacially slow, like watching a stubborn little plant decide whether your yard is available to it or not to spring up. But slow is not nothing. A child who rages for 20 minutes instead of 90 is healing. A child who says, I hate you, and then comes back for a snack and a hug is healing. A parent who pauses for 10 seconds before reacting is healing. And a parent who apologizes without collapsing into shame is healing. It is also wildly unglamorous work, this parenting. Nobody hands you a trophy for staying calm when the child has just poured shampoo into the heating vent. Though honestly, perhaps we should. I would like a whole awards ceremony for therapeutic parents. How about best regulated response while internally screaming? Or most creative use of a snack during a crisis? Or how about outstanding achievement in leaving the room before saying something really ugly? Or how about lifetime achievement in buying socks no one will wear? You deserve the recognition. You really do. And I want to be clear here because therapeutic parenting gets mistaken for permissive parenting, and it absolutely is not. It is deeply boundaried and highly intentional. It asks the grown-up questions. How do we set limits without humiliation? How do we teach when the brain is actually available for learning? How do we repair when we blow it? That's sophisticated parenting, informed by neurobiology, attachment, and plain old common sense once you finally have the right lens. Parents don't need one more person asking, have you tried harsher consequences? Holy moly, they've tried consequences, harsh ones, and charts and timeouts and time-ins and rewards and therapy and essential oils and 3 bedtime routines and that one parenting book that made them feel like a failure by chapter 3. And what they need is a framework that respects the complexity of the child and the exhaustion of the parent and people around them who understand. That's one of the things that genuinely moves me looking back. When my children came home, this kind of support didn't exist. There were no podcasts on nervous system regulation, no online communities for parents trying to understand attachment rupture. There was a lot of be consistent and love should be enough, and the love was there, but the information really wasn't. That's changing. Not fast enough, but it's changing. While still not enough, there's extraordinary talent available to parents now. There are clinicians, coaches, researchers, educators, advocates, people with lived experience to help. I am grateful beyond words that Unmuted Love has become one small place where some of that wisdom can gather. So here on episode 100, let me say thank you first to one special person whom I love, and that is Saya Clark, who produces the podcast, plus a zillion other things I get all the credit for. Saya is the idea person with all the skills. Thank you, Saya, for always being in my corner, even when sometimes I'm not in it. And I truly want to thank you all for listening and for sharing episodes with the friends, teachers, partners, and the occasional relative who really needed to stop giving you advice at Thanksgiving. Thank you to every guest who brought wisdom and heart to these conversations. And thank you to every parent who also shared their life stories on this podcast. Thank you to the parents who keep showing up to learn a new way while completely worn out. And thank you to the children, including my own, who taught me that love has to become more than intention. It has to become skill, repair, patience, and fierce protection of dignity. And thank you to the version of me who started this on a whim. She had no idea what she was getting us into, which is probably why she was brave enough to begin in the first place. That's how most good things start, isn't it? Not with certainty, but with a little tug at your heart, with a sense that something needs to be said. Your child is not too much. Your child's nervous system may be carrying too much. You're not failing. You may be carrying too much, too. Healing begins when we stop asking, how do I make this child behave? And start asking, how do I help this child feel safe enough to grow, safe enough to trust, safe enough to receive my love? That question changes discipline, schools, bedtimes, and the way we care for ourselves. It changes the future. So here's the 100th episode of Unmuted Love. Here is to every parent learning to see beneath the behavior. Here's to every child whose story is bigger than their worst moment. And here's to trust repair, to blocked care healing, to nervous systems slowly finding their way back to safety. Here's to love that does not give up and love that learns how to do it better. I'm C. Eshelman. I'm the founder of UnMuted Love, and I am your companion in this beautiful, messy, sacred work of helping love get in to hurting hearts. Thank you for celebrating 100 episodes with me, and I'll see you next time on UnMuted Love.